you guys can say that there is no interrupting this athlete's journey to success. Anything she puts her mind into, she focuses and simply gets things done. One kick at a time, of course. Sharing her football journey with us, please welcome to the Scorecard studio, Stallion Laguna's midfielder, Natasha Alquiros. Natasha, welcome to the Scorecard. It is so nice to see you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, Natasha, now we all know that you've accomplished so many things. You have had so many accolades as a football player. Can you walk us through that journey from when you started as a kid? How did you even start? Like, who brought you, that love for football?
So I started around grade 4, I'd say 9 or 10 years old, and I saw my younger brother play football and my older sister were playing football. And meanwhile, my parents enrolled me in ballet. So I was like, I saw them and I realized, I want to do that. And so when I was given the chance to play with Woodrow, so I studied in Woodrow's when I was in grade school and high school. So once I started, I just never stopped. Like once I started playing, I was hooked until the very end.
So you never stop. Compared to ballet though, what was it about football that made you fall in love with it?
I think it's something about just once I step on the pitch, it's like everything shuts out, everything zones out. And then I enter the state of flow.
Right.
That when I'm playing, nothing else matters and that you can give something that you're 150% focus. Because, especially like nowadays with social media and everything, it's so easy to get distracted.
Right.
But when I'm playing football, I'm very much in the zone and I'm focused. So that's one of my favorite things about the game.
State of flow. I love how you described it, Natasha. It seems like we're meditating here. Okay. So I know that you've also been in the football industry for more than a decade, correct, right? So can you describe to us, what are the changes? How was the evolution of football here in the Philippines? What are the changes in that span of a decade? And what are the changes that you're still looking forward to see in the sport?
Well, let me just start off personally. I feel that I have gained so much from the sport. So since I played and gave my all to the sport at such a young age, when I went to college, I got a full scholarship to De La Salle. And then after that, during that time, I was also picked up by the national team. And after the national team, during that same time, I was also given job opportunities. So I'd say that I'm one of the lucky few that I could say that I feel that I've been very blessed because of football on and off the pitch.
Right.
But can you continue again? What was the other question?
My other question was, what are the changes that you still want to see that you have yet to see in the sport?
All right. So when it comes to, I played for the national team for over 10 years. And this is the pre-Jeff Cheng era, before it really boomed off.
Yeah.
So I was there during the crumbling, tumbling stones of trying to figure out a coach, and then it kind of stumbles back down, and then you'd start again. And every year it felt like, you're barely making it.
Yes.
And you're looking for support, you're looking for people to back you up. So I'd say that we are already a long way from where it was during my time with the national team. In a sense that right now there's more stability.
Right.
There's also more funding.
Right.
But I'd say that despite the fact that there's more of those and there's more scouting, let's say locally, internationally, there's even a league now. There's a women's league, there's a women's cup that, let's say, 10, 15 years ago, there wasn't. So we are on the right path towards a better national team, a better women's football, but I'd say that it's still not yet enough.
Correct.
There's still so much to be done, especially if you compare us to, let's say, the other Southeast Asian countries, to the other neighboring countries around us. There's still not enough support, or I'd say the building blocks that really make something that can last long term. So we still have to build on the other aspects of the game to, I guess, make it more sustainable.
Right. Okay, so I wanted to focus on your word support. How else can we support women in football, for example? Obviously, we understand, we have the public sector, the private sector. I want to focus on us fans. Me, I love football. I love watching you guys do your thing on the field, on the pitch. How can we as Filipinos gather as a community and kind of give you guys the support that you need when it comes to preparing for a tournament?
So let's say on the local end, the Women's League is about to start. So I'd say that for fans, it's actually showing up to the games, watching the games online. Because when the fans show up, the market, the people who are in charge of investing in this, they'll see that there's a demand for the sport. When they see that there's a demand for the sport, then they'll invest more.
Correct.
And then, and everything follows. That when people invest more, then there's more chances for it to succeed. Maybe more clubs will have better funding, more players can get paid better to do it longer as well. Because the challenge of women in football especially is that some people choose to have a family.
Yes.
Some people choose that it's not as stable, let's say, as men's football. You don't earn as much.
And this is reality, yeah.
And so you stop playing at a younger age as compared to the male counterparts. So the question that we always have to ask ourselves is that how do we make sure that women in football stay in football longer? Because usually after collegiate football, that's when they decide to take up something else instead of to continue their path to get better and better and better. So that's something that hopefully that if fans show up more, whether it's at the collegiate games, the youth games, and in the women's open as well and the women's national team, then there'd be more funding also being put by the private sectors into women's football.
It's like a domino effect, right? Yeah, I really love this perspective when you talked about that, because I feel like it's not talked about enough. There are a lot of stories that are hidden behind cameras that we don't really know about, especially when it comes to the real stories of our women athletes. But I wanted to focus that, being a woman in a male-dominated sport, what are the challenges, at least for you as a pro player, what are the challenges that you saw as a pro player and now being the president of the Philippine Women's Football Association?
So I'll start first with the Women's Football Association. So that's actually something that started out during the pandemic when everything stopped for football. We were slowly on this path to getting more support for women's football, and then everything stopped. The pandemic happened. And so myself and a few other people, we decided to really think about it and how can we make sure that there is support for women's football? What can we do, individually? And so that's how we did the Women's Football Association.
Right.
So the start of that was to bring like-minded people together and to at least make some noise online.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. Eventually, though, the great thing I'd say about that was that, because I ended up moving to Thailand for a couple of years.
To play?
My husband ended up playing, and I ended up having a baby during that time. So in my head, I was like, how can I support the game even though I'm not playing the game? And so that's how we started with the Women's Football Association. And at the same time, through that as well, other things were born. I'd say that one of the best things about the Women's Association was that reconnecting other people in the game, including I'm not sure if you know them, but Venice Furio, Kit Kat Revilla, the likes of Pam Puri. So all these people who are so active online, they're never the face of the game, but they're the ones who are always covering the game. They're always the ones who write the articles. They're the ones who make sure that there's social media buzz about these players. We were able to connect all together, and eventually they've actually formed Laban Filipinas themselves. They were able to form Laban Filipinas, which aim is, of course, to be that one-stop shop for women's football.
Right.
So anything you want to know or need to know, that's
it's
where
there,
they do it.
yeah.
So it's nice that we were able to, through that association, we were able to build people together. And then now all these people were able to connect together, and now they're doing their own things as well to find ways to make sure that women's football continues to develop.
Right, exactly. I mean, I love that, Natasha. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right, now we can talk about women in sports day on end, but well, the last question would be, because we have actually a lot of viewers here who are aspiring footballers as well, and surprisingly, a lot of these are actually women. Now, what is one thing, or what is one advice in terms of resilience in being a woman in a male-dominated sport? What is something that you would like to share with them?
I'd add to that I know it's a male-dominated sport, but let's look at the stats, or facts in the Philippines. We are ranked, the women's team is ranked much higher than the men's team.
I mean,
not
hello,
saying anything
World
about
Cup,
the men. We went to the World Cup.
Exactly.
We won the AFF championship. That was just in the Philippines in 2022. So there is, now you could actually see it, there is a path to success. I'd say that during my time playing, I wasn't so sure. You couldn't really see it, the direct line from being a player to playing professionally and even like your career in the national team taking off, or like where it would exactly lead. But now there are blueprints.
Yes.
So that for the young girls out there, it's that there is a chance. There will always be a chance as long as you don't stop playing. Because it's when you give up, then you don't have a chance at all. But if you continue to play and enjoy also what you're doing. It can't just be because, oh, you want to be one thing. It also has to be because you enjoy doing it. Because if you're doing it out of pressure or because you're looking for this one specific goal, what happens if it doesn't come through? Then mentally you'll suffer because you'll be like, oh, it's all for nothing. But it's not. But if you enjoy the journey, you'll realize that even though, let's say that you don't become a professional football player, that can still open the doors into other aspects of the game.
Yes.
You can work as commentator, you can work in management, in media, in photography, that there is more than one aspect of women's football where you can be successful. And maybe your playing journey can take you to those other paths in your life. So I hope that the young girls now, especially knowing that they have the likes of Ina Palacios, Hailey Long, people to look up to see a clear path of success as well, is that they don't stop playing. And now that they know that there are football clubs, there's Stallion Laguna, and of course there's Kaya. There's also the other younger clubs, such as Tuloy, Beach Hut, Bella Academy. It's so nice to see that there's so many more youth women's football programs, but as well as senior programs that are building up and shaping up. So women's football is becoming more and more competitive.
I love that. Natasha, you are one of the reasons why we still have hope in this sport. Thank you so much, Natasha, for guesting. That was a very insightful discussion, and we'll see you again soon for sure.
Thank you.